Hello everyone. Welcome to another edition of my blog. It's the 13th of November. So it's been almost 2 weeks since my last proper blog entry. I've had a lot of finance issues since then. Thankfully, I came home last weekend and my sister was very good and helped me out. So, and now my student finance has actually come through. It means that my financial worries are over for now. Anyway, they're not completely finished with, but I'm not in trouble anymore. Let's put it that way. So, what else can I say? Well, last weekend I came home because my sister and I were planning to go to Scotland to visit our eldest brother and our two youngest nieces that live up there. My sister wasn't willing to stop by Scarborough on the way. She wasn't even willing to stop by York on the way. So it meant that I had to come home, which wasn't a bad thing because it meant that I could see my friend Matt one last time before he goes into the army. He starts tomorrow. He starts his basic training tomorrow. And it also gave me an opportunity to go and see another friend who lives in Lincoln. And it was a nice weekend. My sister helped me out with her with my finance issues. When I met her in town for this, she tapped me on the shoulder and I turned around and she was in tears. Now, I don't like seeing anybody in tears, but seeing my little sister in tears really got to me. So I comforted her and found out what the problem was, and it turns out that her ex, who's only been with his new girlfriend for something like 7-8 weeks, is now expecting a child with the girl. There's a lot of talk about whether the child's actually his or not. And there are many people that don't seem convinced that they've been together long enough based on how far gone she is. I don't know. His mother is insisting on having a blood test when the baby's born, to test the paternity. According to one of his best friends, there are 3 potential fathers because my sister's ex-boyfriend's best friend actually goes out with one of the girl's best friends. So apparently, there are supposed to be 3 potential fathers. So I don't know, this has really upset my sister because my sister doesn't, she still cares for him. They were together for she says 8 years, but that doesn't seem right to me. It's more like 7. But anyway, it's nitpicking. Anyway, she was worried that this kind of thing might happen because Luke, my sister's ex-boyfriend, is a very simple boy. But he is a nice guy. He is a genuinely good guy. He earns decent money, and he's easily manipulated. So my sister was worried that some hometown girl, would take advantage of him. So he seems happy enough, so not really my place to comment. If he's happy, then whatever. So yeah, and then I spent the rest of that Saturday in Lincoln with a friend, and that was a bad idea. It was a great idea, and it was a bad idea. It was nice. I really enjoyed spending time with that friend, because I always enjoy spending time with that friend. I know that they enjoy spending time with me too. But certain events transpired that were perhaps a bad idea. At the time, they seemed like a great idea, like the best idea. But afterwards, I wouldn't say I necessarily regret the events that transpired. I don't really do regrets like that. But, it was perhaps a bad idea to allow those events to transpire. How many times can I say events and transpire in in a minute. I must be pushing. I must be pushing the record there. Anyway, so yeah, that's Saturday. Then on the Monday, my sister and I drove up to Scotland, but we didn't drive up until the evening because my sister had to work. So it was after 2 a.m. before we arrived at my brother's, and my sister and I were top and tailing it on an air mattress in their lounge. So my sister was less than impressed. I wasn't particularly bothered because I only sleep for a couple of hours anyway. So, and it was a nice week. We were planning to stay longer, but there was no downtime. There was no time to ourselves there. The house is busy. My brother and his partner were off. Although one of my nieces was at school all day, the baby was around, and my sister and I were pretty much given no choice but to spend 24 hours a day together. We were sleeping in the same communal room. The flat's fairly small, so they don't have sort of spare rooms that you can just sort of hang out and chill out in. We were hanging out together all day, every day. There was very little time to myself, and I'm not used to that at all. I'm used to spending a lot of time on my own. Now, I'm not complaining that I had to spend time with my family. I'm just saying it would have been nice in the evenings to have a couple of hours just to myself. So yeah, my sister and I were ready to come home by the end of the week. But fantastic. It was Emily, the youngest one. She's 4 months old. I've never known a baby laugh and smile so much in my entire life. I mean, she would literally smile and laugh at everything, which is fine by me because I'm an entertainer. So yeah, and apparently as well, though, she does have her flip side in that she finds it very difficult to settle down in other people's arms. She settles down in my brother's arms really well, and she struggles with my brother's partner's arms. But I was determined to get her to settle, and I did several times. My sister failed, and they said that many other people have failed, but I succeeded. She took a real shine to me. I know she's only 4 months, but she did seem to take a real shine to me, and it was great. It could be another year or so before I see her again. She'll have forgotten me. She'll be like a little person by then. I hate being so far away from my brother and his children up there because it can be a year, 18 months in between seeing them, which I know in the grand scheme of things isn't such a long time, but when you have children that age, that's a massive gap, a huge gap. You miss so much. And I don't have children of my own. I'm a long way from having children of my own. But most of my life I've been an uncle. My eldest nephew's 18, so I like being an uncle. I take it as seriously as I can, but I'm a fun uncle. I just enjoy it, but I hate missing out. But there we go. One thing about Scotland, though, is as an Englishman, as soon as people find out you're an Englishman, they will react one of two ways. They will either react positively or negatively. There's no one that seems to be indifferent. It's like, apparently, according to my brother, he says that between 10 and 15% of people in Scotland are English. So you would think that they would be used to having English people around, but as soon as they find out you're English, it's some kind of a novelty. People, some people will get all excited and they'll almost applaud me for being English, and I'm like, well, 60 miles south and you're at the border. You must have been to England plenty of times. You must have met plenty of English people. And then you'll get the other ones that will effing blind. They will swear and generally be very negative under their breath. Make very snide comments. And I'm just like, well, whatever. My mother was Scottish. My father's Welsh. I was born and raised in England, but I don't have any English blood, so to speak, in me. So I'm as much Scottish as I am English, I guess, at least genetically, which explains the ginger beard, I guess. There's definitely a lot of Celtic blood in me. Um, so yeah, whatever. So that was nice. I'm back in Scarborough now. I only got back a few hours ago. I haven't seen my housemates yet. I came in and everything was off downstairs. I know they're upstairs because I've seen the bedroom light on. I haven't gone and bothered them because I shut away in their bedroom this early in the evening, so no way I'm disturbing them. Not a cat in hell's chance. God knows what they're up to. So I'm not getting involved. I'm not getting involved there. I'll just wait for them to come down and then I'll see them. So yeah, my finances are just about sorted. Um, I did something stupid last weekend, which I definitely don't regret, and I would definitely do again. Because I'm an idiot, apparently. Scotland for the week was good, although I spent more money than I intended. And we didn't really do a lot, to be fair. And on the Friday night, I ended up spending the best part of £20 on a meal. We went to this Indian, and now I know every Indian is different, but samosas, whether they're vegetable samosas or a meat-filled samosa. A samosa is a staple side dish or starter at any Indian, surely. But no, not on this menu at all. Not on the buffet menu, not on the a la carte menu, nothing. No samosas, and no samosas. What is that all about? So I was less than impressed by that. But there we go. So I'm back in Scarborough now, back on the job hunt. I'm determined to get a job ASAP. The trouble with that is it means that I may not be able to get back home for Christmas. I'm not really much of a Christmas celebrator anyway. There's back home. I've only got one child in my life, and that's Lily, one of my brother's daughters. That's the only child I have in my life. And for me, Christmas has always been about the children, really. And that sounds kind of cliched, but it's true. Since my mum died, we've never really bothered with it in the family. Like, my father and I are the only ones that live in the family home, and we never put decorations up because neither of us care. My sister has to come around and do it because my father and I just don't care enough, and I haven't since Mum died. Just doesn't feel it doesn't feel like a real Christmas without Mum. So and my Christmas day is over by 4 p.m. Because any guests that we have during the day will be gone. We've had Christmas dinner. Presents have been exchanged. Christmas Day's finished by 4 for me. It's just like any other day. So I'm not really that worried about going home for it. I'd like to spend an alternative Christmas. Might do something a bit different. Maybe with some other people. I don't know. We'll see. I've got a friend who doesn't really have a family as such. And the people they associate with will be spending their Christmas with family, and this friend doesn't want to spend it with somebody else's family, which is fair enough. So perhaps there was mention that we may spend Christmas Day together, but we'll see. I'm not overly worried at this point. Christmas is still a long way off yet. People are like, well, it's only 5 or 6 weeks, and I'm like, well, that's 5 or 6 weeks. People are getting excited about the Christmas adverts already, and like the Coca-Cola Christmas advert started, and I'm like, well, it's barely even the middle of November, so that's crazy. Christmas decorations are going up all over the town centres and city centres, and in shops and stores. I'm like, well, that's crazy. I know it's a commercial thing and it sells, but Jesus Christ, crazy. I have turned into a bit of a Scrooge in recent years. Humbug and all that crap. I don't really care. When I have my own family, if that day ever comes, perhaps I will think very differently. Well, of course I will. I'll have children, and I will, you know, do my best to have a good Christmas for my children, the way that I always had great Christmases as a child. But, you know, the Christmas is something else I'll touch on in more depth in another vlog. I think I've kept you for long enough now. I'm not sure if I've said everything I intended to say. I should have made a note before I started. If you've managed to make it all the way to the end of this, massive thumbs up for you. You are the people I love the most. To anyone that's watched this at all, you know, thank you. Just thank you for taking the time to watch it. Oh, one quick thing. You may have noticed that there doesn't seem to be any light shining directly on me, but you can still see me quite well. That's because I found out, thanks to my 5-year-old niece, that the reason that my videos have been so dark isn't because of the lighting in the room. It's been because of the settings I have on the webcam. It's been, you know, the brightness was too low. I only discovered this because of my 5-year-old niece, which you may have met in my other video, Bethany and me. So yeah, that was quite embarrassing. 5-year-old niece clicked on something that brought up the settings, and you know, I hadn't even looked at it before, and there it was, the brightness, and it was too low. So yeah, oops. Thanks to my 5-year-old niece for that. So yeah, leave comments, questions, etc. in the usual places, and thank you very much for watching. I love every single person that's ever watched this, or any of my videos. So yeah, thank you very much. I'll speak to you next time.